So this video will talk about that 2025 rate. Like first we'll talk about the VA and DM, then I'll come to quant rate. Fine. Like obviously the paper analysis we'll be doing. So basically this analysis will be based on after having conversation with the students and all right who were attempting this year's ZAD paper. So I had an interaction with them. So according to them in VA part, the RC was this time quite difficult. Right. Plus, more number of RC questions were there, right? I guess there were 12 questions from RC, right? That each RC had three questions, and there were four RC in which the poem was also included. Then they were talking about the the grammar based question in which is correct, which is wrong. This was also lower this particular time. It was just two, and rest question were 14 were based on the VA part, right? So according to them, this was, like ideal attempt, right? Matlab that people who were good in VRC and all, right? So they just told me, they were able to attempt 17 to 18 question in VA, right? Those who were good, right? And about the average, it was around, 10 to 13, the people who were not good at VA part and all, right? But comparatively, this time also VA was tough, like just like before like last year, right? So obviously you can expect a lower marks in this as well, like for 99 percentile and all will come at end, right? Now coming to the DM part, obviously DM where there was same like last year, but this time the DM were quite lengthy. Fine. Like there were 21 questions in that. Obviously, there were seven DM set, right? And for like one was on hiring trainer whom you will hire and all, right? Then one was based on, blanket competition about the profit loss and that particular thing. Then it was upon full MBA, like, the executive or something like that. Then like one was about outsourcing as well, right? So in DM part also, like according to them, out of this 21 question, most of the people they were able to do 15 to 17 question, right? Matlab, on an average, and compared to the mocks, right? Mocks, or if I talk about the last year paper, so they found it a little bit difficult, on a same scale, I would say a little bit more difficult compared to that. Only the part in DM was the paper was quite lengthy. It means that it was too much time consuming, right? So for they told even like what I understood from them ki to VA what they went with thought, right? Ki obviously this DM part they were allotting 50 minutes and they were able to do all the 21 questions, right? So obviously it was not possible. Like everyone was left with 5 to 6 question at the end or 4 to 5 question at the end, right? They did not have that much time, right? Compared to VA also, I would say this particular VA was also a little bit on a tougher side, right? Uh, Compared to the previous one. Some RC were quite doable, but some were difficult, right? Some were quite difficult. Similarly, in this, they talked about, this hiring trainer and all. The thing was in DM, what they faced, the issue was the information what they gave, that was particularly lengthy. Plus, even this time, the option were also quite close compared to the previous time, right? So, according to them, like having a word with them, these people were scoring around 18 to 19 marks in DM, 17 to 16 marks in DM. So for them also the attempt was less than, like none of them attempted 21. Some of them went for 21, but for them it was like, they went to this particular thing. For example, if they will get four wrong, then only one marks will be deducted, right? To balance it out, they just went with the DM attempt. But an ideal attempt, according to the student to whom we had an interaction, it was just around 17, 18, right? So DM was based on one was sales and marketing. One was based on that. Then profit and loss also was there, in which they compared with the Blinkit, like Kirana store comparing with Blinkit and all, right? Then one was they used to hire trainers and all, right? The situation what they created was quite what you have heard before, but it was quite lengthy. The information what they gave was quite lengthy, so you can expect again the same as it is last year, the cutoff same as it is last year, like one marks more, or you can compare -1 like that, right? For this particular thing, this will be there. Right now, coming to the main section, that like quants and DI, right? Let me share that as well. Just a second. uh, Quants, yeah. Fine. So quants, like there were 15 questions particularly from the quants, right? In which according to just a second, according to the student, right? Matlab, the topper who was from our batch, he attempted around 19 questions, right? That was quite doable for him, right? Fine. So 15 questions were from quants, in which you can compare, they were telling 5 to 6 questions were quite direct that anyone can do, right? From example, they told about the ratio question, that was quite easy. Even from question from logarithm was quite easy, right? Then they told, like arithmetic question was a little bit time consuming means one question was also direct. In geometry also, they told, like if you would have understood the concept, then it was quite doable, right? So those people who told 19 and like those people who attempted 12 to 13, right? For this particular people, they were like those who were not good with quants, not much more confident with quants, right? Fine. Now, 12 and 13, I'm talking about the overall, including everything, like DI, LR, everything, right? So that's what I told. Arithmetic around 6 questions were there, right? Algebra, it had around five to question. Algebra was quite, easy compared to arithmetic. According to them, it was mostly formula based, so it was quite doable, right? Compared to number system and APGP, again, there were 2, 3 questions, not more than that, right? Obviously, this questions on logarithm and irrational root, that was quite doable, fine. For compared to the DI, they told DI was, like it was not that difficult, right? Matlab, you can analyze it and you can solve, but it was quite calculative. Like two DI sets were there, right? So obviously this was quite calculative. And for the LR part also, there were, I guess, in total 4 sets were there, in which two DI and two LR, right? For LR part, they told it was quite, for example, there was, I guess, there was chart based question, right? In LR, that was very time consuming according to them. Or I can tell, ki this particular paper was tougher than the last year, right? The quants was tougher than the last year. On this particular sense, like you can compare it in that particular manner only, right? So what would be my suggestion, like after having conversation with 20 to 25 students, in which, all were included from topper to the one who is scoring well, right? So for them, if I talk about the VA, right? For example, the topper people who were very good at VA, right? For them, it was 18 to 19, right? For DM, again, 17 to 18, right? On an average attempt, or quants also about, 18 to 19, right? They're talking about the people who were very good in that, right? Particularly who were medium, like, who did not even, were not much confident or were not that much taking risk and all, right? For them, it was 12 to 13. 12 to 13, or this was, below 9, like somewhere in 8 to 9 as well, right? Now, compared to the, like, marks versus, like if I need to talk about marks versus percentile score, right? Ki, matlab, what would be there, right? So let me do that. Like, according to me, it was just before, like last year as it is, right? Like, just let me, I should change or इसमें ही कर देते हैं, ठीक है? So for example, yes, last year for 99 it was around 33 plus, right? So this year also we can expect, it can be +1 or -1, right? But compared to when I talk about the sectional cutoff for, like DM, for example, VA or quants, right? This might be quite lower for DM and VA because this was a little bit lengthy compared to the last year. Similarly, VA was tough, right? Obviously, what the people were expecting the RC work to be quite easy, but it was not that, right? So, what would be my suggestion? Again, like my point would be this only, like after having a conversation with the student, right? For 99, it would be around 33, right? And for 95 it would be around, 24 plus, right? You should have scored 24 plus for 95, right? And above 99, then that will be a little bit dicey. For example, if I talk about 99.5, 99.6, right, you can assume around 37 to 38 score, right? Like, so compared to 2024, I'll keep it tough. Fine. And 2023, though, what quite easy compared to even 2024, right? You would have seen the cutoff in 2023 were quite high, right? So you can compare, like this would be as usual as 2024 paper, all on a tougher side, right? So obviously, wait for the answer key to come out, right? When the answer key will be come out, when the response sheet will be out and the people would be able to, submit their scores and all, then more clarity will come, what will be the cutoff score and all this thing would be, right now speculation on things and all, it won't be that much good, right? Now what should be your next step? You should prepare for the, GDPI part. Fine, you should start preparing for the GDPI without giving much time what should be cut off and all. Even if you have a little bit chances of clearing the cutoff, right? Don't think about number of question what you're attempting or whatever you have done. Whatever has done has been done. Right now, you cannot change it, right? So based on my experience, or like obviously this year I did not attempt that paper, but once I had a conversation with a guy who secured 19.99 in CAT, right? So according to him, he was like, the paper was on a tougher side compared to the last year's that, right? So I'm not, fully trusting him on this, right? But this is just a case of a student, right? Even after talking to peer students and all, they were like, Cons was See, it depends on the people, right? People scenario. For example, the people who were good at quant, right? They found it out a little bit lengthy, like the one, like compared to mocks, any mocks, whether you are writing, whether you attempted R mocks or you attempted, like what we say, Kraku or time any mocks, right? For the DM part or for even the quant part, right? The paper were quite tougher than that, right? For example, like even in the DM part as well, the questions were quite lengthy. So you can expect a little bit lower marks cutoff than last year, right? Or as it is what was last year, right? It won't be more than that. More so, there is very less chances because compared to the last year, many people found the paper difficult, right? Obviously, and obviously, time manageable was the difficult thing here as well. Those people who were able to manage the time, they went well with the attempts and all. But those who were not able to manage that, they left with 8 to 9 question in VA. Then in cons, they were able to just do 12 to 13 question or 14 to 15 question. It was just like that, right? This is what it is, right? Fine. So चलते हैं anyways. ठीक है. This is all about that. You can start preparing for the GDP, and if you're looking for an affordable course, so you can, directly enroll with us as well, for this particular thing. And more clarity will get once the answer key will be out, right? About the cutoff and all, what would be there, right? Comparing with the last year, I feel like, it should be on lower side. Baki, let's see what happens. Fine. This is all about this particular thing. That's all. Thank you. And obviously start preparing for the GDPI without, wasting time on what would be my cutoff, what would be that, wasting time here and there, right? Start preparing for the GDPI. That's all. Thank you.